Depending on when you're watching this, Minecraft 1.20.70 just dropped, isn't out yet, or has been out for a year and 3 months. 1.20.70 is one of the final updates of the 1.20 era. Today we're going to dive into wolf changes, armadillo updates, farming upgrades, and even more. Ah yes, Minecraft 1.20.70, also known as Wolf Update V1. Inside of this update, wolves are now going to be able to withstand more damage than ever before. Now, I don't know how I'm supposed to show this off. Ethically, I don't know what it was before, but it definitely wasn't that. Now for this update, in order to make the wolves withstand more damage, instead of like adjusting the armor thing or anything like that, they actually just went ahead and doubled the wolves' health. That's also going to mean every time you heal your doggo with a food or something like it, it now heals double what it used to. And probably the biggest two takeaways from this is, one, if you have an old dog in your world right now, that means you need to heal it up before you do anything with it, because when you load up your world for the first time in the update, it's gonna have half health. And those beautiful wolf changes, the ones with all the variants and everything like that, unfortunately, tragically, that's not in this update. Looks like it'll be in the next one, so stay tuned. Oh wow, one of the most beautiful setups of all time for an update video. It would be a huge shame if somebody tragically met their demise smack dab in the center of this death screen. That beautiful death screen, it's everywhere. The not so brand new, definitely beautiful death screen is now more everywhere than ever before. By default, with resource packs, this screen is now going to be enabled. But good news, if you just can't get used to the future, there is still a way to turn it off for a little bit longer. Inside of video settings, scroll down until you see this option right here and turn it off. The farming update of all time. For this update, for whatever reason, we never talked too much about the betas for it. But there's one thing that I remember. And for this update, vividly locked in, maybe eventually a core memory, is this farming update right here. With a tool with Fortune 3 on it, it's now going to work how it's meant to always work. That's right, unfortunately, you've always been ripped off. If we have netherwort that is fully grown up, like ready to be harvested with Fortune 3, whew, look at that right there. I mean, I don't know if you can tell, but that's a lot of netherwort. 6 from a single harvest. This is just like Minecraft Java now. You're going to get more things from netherwort when harvesting than ever before. But it gets even better, because melons, your most favorite farm of all time, harvest this buddy with Fortune 3, and yes, you almost every time get enough melons to recreate the melon block. It's quite beautiful, really. And last but not least, glowstone. With Fortune 3, it is now indeed possible to get 4 pieces of glowstone dust, basically recreate the block when you harvest it. However, unfortunately, with Fortune 3, you're not going to get it every single time. Remember, this stuff is on a little bit of a scale, if you will. Sometimes you'll get 3, other times you'll get 4. It may not look like it, but this is one of the bigger Java parody updates in this update. Hey you, beautiful, handsome laddie, or person. This is a quick reminder to tap that like button and subscribe. If you're new here, notification gang as well, hi, welcome. I hope you're enjoying. And long ago, when this game was a mere brand new game, all black and white, everything like that, a little thing called the flattening was announced. Here we are, potentially 5 years or more in the future, and the flattening continues. In this update, we got some big ones. The wood blocks, they're now flatter than ever before, and the stripped wood blocks, they're flattened too. Now, technically speaking, what this all means is the block ID of all of these blocks. So, for example, inside of the code, if we're like giving ourselves stripped wood or something, it's now going to actually be called properly stripped wood. It's all kind of really a more technical thing, but long story short, it's a great thing to have. Also, alongside the flattening, all of the leaves have been flattened as well. Instead of just being referred to as leaves, this is now oak leaves, spruce leaves, and all the way down. A side note, I've just now realized that spruce wood logs, stripped, they're completely different color on Bedrock, aren't they? These are like a little bit darker than they are on Java. I don't know if I like it. I'm just being honest. Slash damage. Ah yes, one of the commands of all time. Previously, there was an interesting word, an interesting version of damage that one could take. That damage category is now renamed to self-destruct. For what feels like a million trillion years, there's been some suspiciously confusing experimental features inside of the game. Inside of this update, there is one less than ever before. The Molang experimental features are now completely gone, and on that note, I think holiday creator features might end up getting replaced as well. Instead of those holiday creator features, whatever they are, that have been around since literally like at least 2018, I would like to present you custom components. Custom components, though they aren't fully inside of this update, a little thing to take note if you like to make like add-ons or packs or anything like that, that stuff is changing, I think, very, very soon. Custom components is going to be a brand new, much easier way to component blocks customly, but it's just not here yet. So what does that mean for some of those other experimental features? I'm not too sure, but just keep it in mind if you're into like the technical thing. It's sad, the rain is almost poetic in a sense because inside of this update, the grass has been removed. Yes, that's right, grass is gone. Inside of the command menu previously, what was called grass has now been renamed to be a little bit more like specific, if you will. It's now called grass block instead. The end frame block, the creative inventory, what do these two things have in common? Well, my friend, inside of this update, they both have received updates, and this update is a 2-in-1. The end portal frame block is now going to be in the nature tab, which, side note, I never realized this was the nature tab. The names don't really pop up. Oh, awkward. Also, while talking about this whole creative inventory thing, another thing you're probably only going to find in creative are these eggs right here. They've all been renamed. Prior to this update, for example, this one would have been called the Spawn Magma Cube Egg. The name format, the ordering, has been changed to say Villager Spawn Egg instead. Bug fixes. Like every update that came before this one and every update that will likely come after this one, there have been a lot of different bug fixes inside of this update, but not as many as before. Minecraft 1.20.70 is a little bit of a smaller update. Probably the biggest bug fix, I don't know if you're using this, but maybe the biggest one here is this fortune one. But you remember, just use bone meal instead. You can still duplicate the flowers. So Minecraft 1.20.70, so far a beautiful update. And for these next few changes at the end of the video, these are all going to be experimental changes. That'll mean if you want to check it out for yourself, gotta enable it first. A huge part of the Minecraft 1.20.70 update experimental side is more set up for Minecraft 1.21, introducing the vault block to experiments. The vault block is basically going to be a brand new loot block that multiple people can get loot out of. If I interact with this block with the brand new trial key that's been updated, then basically a little bit of loot is going to be spit out of the top. Then it's done for me. But that's just for me. My friend, who's standing right over here, you see? Well, he will be able to walk over to this vault thing whenever he wants to and use the key as well and get loot too. And it might even be different. Your version of the vault block might end up looking a little bit different, but functionally and loot-wise, it's exactly the same. Ah, yes, maybe my favorite experiment out of all of them here, the breeze ball. The wind charge is a brand new item that the breeze will now drop if experimental features are enabled, and this thing is so cool. Look down at the ground, throw it at the ground, and look at that. I'm like jumping up a little bit more than I normally would. It's so cool. If I go ahead and time this correctly, I can rocket jump up like 10 blocks or so. It's actually pretty insane. The wind charge is really cool. It's also going to provide a little bit of knockback to other entities as well. Like, let's say sweet baby pig. If I land in the right spot near it, I could actually send the pig flying a little bit, as you can see there. But in my opinion, probably the coolest one is this whole, like, parkour jumping thing. Being able to jump so high up in the air, like, really easily, too. It's so nice. Also, check that out. You don't take fall damage when you use this thing, too. Or at least the damage that you do take, it's calculated completely differently. It's amazing. Over here in the middle of the night in the world's smallest swamp biome, nothing is going to happen because there's like no land. However, if I was able to say find a swamp biome that gets even this slightest bit bigger, and this could be a normal swamp or a mangrove swamp biome, I'm going to encounter a brand new mob inside of this update. And this mob, it's dangerous. From time to time, inside of the swamp biomes or inside of one specific trial chamber variant, you're now able to find a new type of skeleton spawning inside of the swamp. This is going to be part of the Minecraft 1.21 update, so it'll definitely end up seeing a couple changes from what you're going to see in 1.20.70. Crikeys, yes, there it is, the Bogged. Now, this version of the Bogged is going to look a little bit different. The version that you're going to have inside of this update, the texture is going to be a little bit more flat, with mushrooms just on the head, not sticking out of it. Your version of the Bogged also might shoot arrows a little bit or a whole lot faster than it's actually meant to shoot. Once 1.21 hits, this skeleton is going to fire arrows slower than the normal skeleton. However, the arrows that it fires, I almost don't want to do this, but the arrows that this thing is going to fire, check that out. You see the particles right there. They're poison arrows. This mob is so dangerous. It's not nice. Leave me alone. Stop it. No, 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 no. What have I gotten myself into? Anyways, the Bogged is beautiful. It's so cool. I love that they add this mob variant to the game, even if it is a tad bit of rude. Speaking of the trial chambers, the biggest part of Minecraft 1.21 right now. Inside of this update, the trial chambers have received an update, but unfortunately, it's not really too much of a update. Aside from brand new blocks generating inside of this thing known as the vault, and aside from occasionally being able to find a bogged inside of the trial chambers if you have this version of the ranged mob spawner, the trial chamber should be in closer parity with Minecraft Java in this update, which is a really great thing. You're a Bedrock gang, so I don't even need to remind you about the trial chamber's tragedy of Minecraft 1.20, where it was bugged for like the longest time. The trial chamber getting closer and closer to Java parity on Bedrock is a great thing for Minecraft 1.21. However, and I don't know if you called it just there, but however, you need to be very careful because the structure still spawns outside mobs inside of it. That means, unfortunately, it's totally possible to find a creeper inside of the trial chambers on Bedrock, and it shouldn't be like that. Hopefully by the time Minecraft 1.21 actually drops, hopefully there's no more creepers inside of this structure. That'd be bad. Here we are, we've made it, the final stop of the day, the Armadillo, the adorable little guy. Look at this thing. The texture is going to be updated for this update. This is the new and the final version of how this thing is going to look when it's fully out of experiments, hopefully in the next update. The Armadillo, mechanically, with the scoot rushing, it's also exactly how it's always been. But the scoot itself, that's going to look a little bit different too. Inside of survival, this thing is going to behave a little bit different. You see, when it's balled up, the head doesn't stick out of the ball anymore, and when you hit it, like just with your bare fist, it looks like it's doing damage, but it actually isn't. That means you could play Dillo Ball all day long. You could keep hitting this Armadillo, it'll stay inside of the shell, and like, you know, send it to the goal or something. Between the two grass, right there, I just scored and won, I beat you. Another beautiful new functionality of the Armadillo is fear. When it comes to spiders and cave spiders, they will absolutely be terrified of the Armadillo. They don't like it, and that's because the Armadillo, naturally in real life, it likes to eat things like spiders and little bugs, so yeah, it's kind of cool. Now that updated version of wolf armor with all of the coloring and dyeing, tragically, you have to wait for that thing too. In this update right here, the wolf armor will look a little bit different than the OG version. However, unfortunately, no coloring quite yet. Oh, and while we're talking about mobs, how could I almost forgot the Breeze, the star of the show 1.21 version. The Breeze is now completely immune to all projectiles, including projectiles from, say, a skeleton or whatever. And this is a two-way street. Skeletons don't attack the Breeze, and the Breeze won't attack the skeleton, or any of the other trial chambers bad mobs. Minecraft 1.20.70, the next update, a relatively small update. That's just about everything you need to know. My patrons, a huge thank you. Deb K, the Big Tiny Awkward Bird, Pixie Phantom, Clay as Nick C, Arlo, aka Bobby, MinecraftMojo.com, and Steven. The next up, if you're looking for more videos, check out the update recap playlist, because inside of that playlist is all the videos for like 1.20.60 and everything else. Those updates aren't new anymore, but all of the changes are still in the game. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. It's been me, that handsome Lad Waddles, and I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.